Hello, beautiful Wonder Ones. I hope this moment in time finds you well, that you're feeling peace in your heart and a calm joy in your life. And for those of you who aren't, I want to speak today about how the way we look after ourselves is changing, the way that we are moving into this new earth era is evolving. We are shifting, and along with that, the way we operate, the way we use our brains, use our bodies, use the energy within our heart has to shift and evolve as well. So we may be finding the things that used to work just don't. As we have gone through one of the biggest transformations that any of us will see in our lifetime, a world that has transformed around our physical selves, the way people relate to each other, that we, as we come back into trying to find what our new equilibrium is, because there is no normal. I've noticed within myself that going back into social environments, I get this anxiety, this concern, this I don't know how to be. It's this shift in who we are and how we show up and what is this new me, this new person that we experience going to be like in this new environment. I love utilizing things like ceremony, ritual, spiritual practices, energetic practices as a way to practice self-care. Now, when we are facing things that come up, which they do in our lives, we come up against relationship issues, physical conditions, limiting beliefs, low emotional periods, stress. We need to find ways in order to work with these dimensions that are being presented to us so that we can continue on in a way that doesn't take us completely out. It doesn't send us into burnout. It doesn't take us out and we have to shut off from the world completely. Now, I know some of you are going to be really familiar with that. You just keep going and going and going and doing and doing and doing until you've got nothing left and your tank is completely empty. That methodology, that way, it's done. We know it doesn't work. We know we don't want to get to the point of complete exhaustion and breakdown. So I wanted to share with you today some of the things that we can do to practice an ongoing routine of self-care. Now, last week I went and did a ceremony. My man and I don't know, it'd been building for a few days, and he was going through his own stuff, and it's like, I'm gonna go out and do this. Did you want to come with me? And he's like, no. And then about 10 minutes later, he's like, all right, let's go. And there can be a bit of resistance to going and practicing things and doing things that we know we should do. When you are offered a way out, and sometimes you actually just want to stay sitting in your muck. So we packed a backpack, I put my little ceremony kit together, and that involves some crystals, some sage, a bell, Tibetan bells, a blanket, water, a journal. It doesn't have to be anything. You could go out with nothing and it'd be fine. You could do it in your bedroom, sitting in your bed. You can do it in your lounge room. I love to come out into nature because there is an amplification that happens out here. You're connected to Mother Earth. This is why I love coming out here and sharing with you guys, because I feel like I can channel the messages that are needed and are going to be of best service for you. For all of us, for me too. So we found this beautiful spot, and I'd found it before and knew that it was a place that was going to be a beautiful ceremony location. we set everything up, and we saged, we cleansed ourselves, and we set out a crystal grid, opened the directions, called in the elements, and just really consciously let go of all of the aspects within ourselves that were ready to go. You know, we did a death phase ceremony, letting go of the parts of us that they came in for a certain time. You know, we're full of different aspects of ourselves. We've got so many multifaceted aspects of our personality, different aspects of our soul that our strength will come through. I could see it. I could see this row of gens that were tired and fatigued and weary and done. You know, they'd done their work, and now they were just kind of running on adrenaline. It's like, I just got to keep going. I just got to keep going. I gave them a really honorable farewell. I said, thank you. These are all the things I've noticed that you've done and you've helped us get to, and we've achieved together, and look at what we've done. And we found an offering from the land and sent it off into the water as a physical representation of that farewell state. And then we brought in the new regiment. I saw them all. They're all lined up, strong, solid within themselves, full of the wisdom, full of the consciousness, full of the new energy that I needed for this next leg of my journey. And the impact that this simple ceremony had on the last week has been profound. It's been phenomenal. I can see myself re-energized. My consciousness has raised. My perspective has broadened. Now, when we fall into states of emotional distress, fear, sorry guys, there's a few boat noises around. That's what you get for being on the water. It takes us down. It takes our frequency down. And when we are in those lower frequencies, our perspective narrows and we can't access all the beautiful array of energy that's available to us, the connection to spirit, because our bandwidth, our channel shortens, it contracts. And think about, if we contract, we can only access little things because we're in survival mode. We get into fight, flight, freeze. Our nervous system contracts, everything contracts. What we want to do is do things that help us expand, and that then opens up our perspective. It opens up this bandwidth that we're then more open for all the frequencies to come in. Now, on the way to this ceremony, I want to share this little story with you because it only really dropped in like in the last 2 days, the symbology of this. And this is what I love about living a conscious life, living with a spiritual awareness and looking at the spirit in all things, because everything has a message. So as we were walking to this beautiful location, we're against these rocks and there's a big drop off in the water beside us, and we were just walking, looking at all the multitudes of fish, and there was this huge jellyfish, and it was just kind of like bopping into the side of the wall, and I'm like, what's it doing? Is it feeding? Like, it's weird. And it would go boom, 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 and then sort of swim out a bit and then go to another bit of the wall, and I was like, oh, that's weird, cool. And then after the ceremonies, we're walking back, we saw this huge manta ray just gently flying, gliding through the water. Oh, it's like made my heart sing, my being soar to see it, because it's not an everyday occurrence that you get to see such a beautiful, majestic creature in the wild. And then I thought about the significance, like what were those animal encounters telling me? The jellyfish is the spiritual meaning of it is to look and reassess our emotions. And that's what we were doing. We were going out to kind of look at our stuff and let it go. Let it go from our energetic body. I don't need to carry that baggage anymore. It's just weighing us down. All those tired gens, they wanted to go off and get some rest. They wanted to rejuvenate so then they can be reassigned. Energy needs to keep flowing, and if we hold it and contract it, it stagnates and it weighs us down. So this bopping into the wall, it's like headbutting over and over again. I'm trying to do the same thing and I'm not getting through it. was that symbology of like, you can't keep doing the same thing. You're just going to keep hitting up against the same walls. And then after the ceremony, seeing that manta ray free, gliding, beautiful, alive, pristine. I'd moved into that representation of that expansiveness of life. Ceremony and ritual are a tool. They are a way to utilize energy. So it allowed me to tap in. It opened a sacred space for me to work within and make change on an energetic level. And when we do that, it allows then the transformation to occur. It is a time to acknowledge, a time to harness the changes that are going in our lives in a way that allows us to grow from them rather than stagnate in the energy. The way that you choose to incorporate new self-care practices into your life may look very different to anyone else that you know. It could be having a meditation practice in the morning, going for a walk and getting into nature every day, spending some conscious time with your pet. It could be a yoga practice, a spiritual practice. It could be doing something once a week that is for you. Having a self-date day, a self-date afternoon. What could you do that is nourishing, that you enjoy? Is it just doodling in a journal and drawing a picture? Is it creating a foot bath for yourself and lighting a candle and just stating what it is you're intending? Is it a gratitude practice? You know, we're always future pacing, thinking about what we need to do next, what's our next goal, and we don't often stop and appreciate what it is that we actually have achieved, what we are grateful for in our lives. Set a time once a week to celebrate. Turn on a track that you love and dance around the house and talk out loud about all the things that you accomplished that was awesome. I have a beautiful offering that I would love to share with you. It's called the Ritual Series. And the first one that's available is called the Heart, Body, Soul Ritual Series. I know the impact that shamanic practices have had on my life. When I do shamanic journeying, when I do rituals, ceremonies, they create dramatic shifts and transformation. They help my consciousness to expand, my perspective to broaden, my heart to open. They help me to understand me. They help me to love myself more. And we all could turn up the dial of our self-love. We could all quieten that voice of the ego and the self-doubt and the negative thinking. This ritual series has 3 components, and they can be done on their own or they can be combined and created into a beautiful ceremony for yourself. The first is a guided shamanic journey that takes you into the heart space, that helps you to tap into what walls are there, what you want to bring into your life. The second step is a ritual, and there's a full guide to take you through the steps of how to create sacred space and how to conduct this ritual for yourself. And the third step is a shamanic drum journey, where you're guided to go and connect with your spirit guides to gain some wisdom and insight into what's happening for the next leg of your journey. I want to provide the tools and opportunities for people to explore the world of ceremony and ritual and see if it brings the magic into their lives that I experience. Creating conscious change and bringing that transformation in, welcoming in, rather than just being thrust into it by our external environment. This is the new way walking. This is the new way forward in order for us to evolve into the beautiful beings that we are, that we're here to be. You know, we've come into this third density, this third dimension, going through the veil of forgetfulness, to be going through the catalysts of the difficulties, of the hardships, of all the things we rub up against, to learn more about ourselves, to evolve and break through and come into a higher state of being, to remember that we are a spirit, an eternal spirit having this human experience. So I wish you all a beautiful, beautiful day, beautiful week, and I hope that you can bring in some new self-care practices that maybe you haven't considered before. I'd love for you to share with me in the chat what it is. And if you'd like more of this kind of conscious content, please subscribe to my YouTube, Instagram, Facebook at I Am Magenta Moon. And I'll see you all soon.